Welcome to the Spider-Man Timeline video. We're taking a look at where it all began for Spider-Man. From cartoons, to live-action series, and movies, and what the future holds. Let's start with the very first cartoon that brought Spider-Man to television. Spider-Man, Animated Series, 1967. The show begins with Spider-Man fighting Dr. Octopus. It doesn't start with Peter Parker's transformation into Spider-Man. His origin story, the spider bite and Uncle Ben's death, is only shown in one episode. That episode comes in the third season, not at the beginning. Almost all of Spider-Man's classic villains appear in this series, like Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, and Mysterio. The show also includes villains created only for this series. These characters don't appear in the comics or other adaptations. This animated series had 3 seasons, with 52 episodes. It aired from 1967 to 1970. Each episode is about 20 minutes long. The show has a 7.3 rating on IMDb, but many of the individual episodes got lower ratings. Still, because of its cultural impact, iconic theme song, and nostalgic feel, it remains an important part of superhero animation history. And then, we arrive at Spider-Man's very first appearance in a live-action TV series. This series, titled The Amazing Spider-Man, aired in the United States between 1977 and 1979. The series was released in 2 seasons. Season 1 had 6 episodes and Season 2 had 8 episodes. This series received average rating of 6.1 on IMDb. Although this series was an important start for Spider-Man in visual media, the reception wasn't very positive. There were no famous comic book villains, the stories were very simple, and Peter Parker's character was quite different from what fans were expecting. However, this series was the first serious attempt to bring Spider-Man into the real world through live action, and for that reason, it holds an important historical place. Next up, we arrive at the most important and influential animated Spider-Man series. Spider-Man, the Animated Series, released in 1994. This show aired over 4 years, spanning 5 seasons and 65 episodes, and is still considered one of the best television adaptations of this beloved character. Unlike many other versions, this animated series tells Peter Parker's story in a detailed and complete way. Almost all of Spider-Man's iconic villains appear throughout the series. Some of them, like Kingpin, aren't just brief antagonists. They are given deep backstories and play central roles in many episodes. In terms of adapting the comics, the show remains fairly faithful to the source material, though it's slightly toned down for a younger audience. For many viewers, this series was the first gateway into the complex and fascinating world of Spider-Man. And even today, despite the passage of time, it still holds up, with its high quality, strong storytelling, and lasting value. But the golden era of Marvel started with Spider-Man starring Tobey Maguire in 2002. This movie tells the story of Peter Parker, an ordinary college student living with his uncle and aunt, who turns into Spider-Man after being bitten by a genetically modified spider. It also marks the beginning of Peter's emotional journey with Mary Jane, as the first hints of their complicated relationship start to unfold in this film. The main villain of the film is Green Goblin, a wealthy scientist and the CEO of Oscorp. After using an experimental formula, he loses control of his mind and becomes one of the most iconic villains in Marvel history, riding a flying glider and throwing pumpkin bombs. He has a dual personality, Norman Osborn and Green Goblin, and at times they are completely unaware of each other. The film received very positive reviews and was a huge box office success. It marked a powerful beginning for the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy. The second movie was released in 2004 and continues the story of the first film. In this part, Peter gives up his powers for a while and tries to return to a normal life. During this time, Mary Jane gets into a relationship with someone else and is about to get married. Meanwhile, a new villain is introduced, Dr. Octopus. He is a good and talented doctor who, after a strange accident, merges with mechanical arms and loses his mind. Now that New York is threatened by Dr. Octopus, Peter is forced to use his powers once again. At the end of the film, Mary Jane leaves her wedding and confesses her love to Peter. This film, like the first one, was very successful both in terms of critical reviews and box office performance. and the last movie of this trilogy was released in 2007. This movie follows Peter as his life seems to be on track. He is now in a romantic relationship with Mary Jane, and everything is going well. However, everything changes when a mysterious black substance from space attaches to him. This alien substance forms the black Spider-Man suit, which enhances his powers but also makes his personality darker. Peter becomes more aggressive and selfish, causing problems in his relationship with Mary Jane. There are 3 villains in this movie. Sandman, who is revealed to be responsible for Uncle Ben's death. Venom, formed from Eddie Brock, who has a personal grudge against Peter. And Harry Osborn, who uses his father's technology, Green Goblin, to become New Goblin and seeks revenge on Peter. In the end, Peter realizes his mistakes, removes the black suit, makes peace with Harry, and together they fight the villains. Harry sacrifices his life to save Peter. After all the events, Mary Jane comes back to Peter, although their relationship is not completely repaired. This film was successful in terms of box office sales, but critics had mixed opinions, with some criticizing the crowded storyline and the multiple characters. Next, we get to a Spider-Man duology with a different atmosphere and a fresh storyline. The Amazing Spider-Man, 2012. Unlike the previous trilogy, this film has a darker and more intense tone. Peter is portrayed as a smart and inventive teenager who, unlike Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, uses a mechanical web shooter to swing through the city. His webs don't come out of his body naturally. The villain of this movie is the Lizard, a scientist who combines his DNA with that of a giant lizard. The conflict between him and Peter is tied to dangerous experiments and the mysterious disappearance of Peter's parents. The second part of this story, released in 2014, continues the same narrative. Peter is still searching for the truth about his missing family. This film features 3 main villains: Electro, a man with electric eel powers, Green Goblin, and Rhino. Both films received average reviews from critics, but performed very well at the box office. Andrew Garfield gained a strong fan base after this duology. Now we get to the latest version of Spider-Man, who was introduced to the Marvel Universe in the 2016 film Captain America: Civil War, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. This character was brought into the universe by Iron Man, who shares a fatherly relationship with Peter. But the first solo film for this version of Spider-Man was Spider-Man: Homecoming, which was released in 2017. This film takes place after the events of Civil War, where Peter has proven himself as a superhero and is now living an ordinary life, while secretly continuing his superhero duties. Throughout the movie, he meets Mary Jane, played by Zendaya. In this film, Peter lives with his young aunt, Aunt May, a kind-hearted character who is unaware that Peter is Spider-Man. The main villain of the film is Vulture, who creates dangerous weapons using alien technology. After defeating Vulture, Tony Stark visits Peter and officially offers him a place in the Avengers. This film received a 7.4 rating on IMDb and a 92% score on Rotten Tomatoes. However, it was the film's box office success that ensured Tom Holland's continuation in the role, as it performed very well and became highly popular. Now we come to one of Spider-Man's animated works that also won an Oscar: Spider-Man: Into the Spider-Verse, released in 2018. This animation tells the story of Miles Morales, who accidentally gains Spider-Man's powers. The main focus of the animation is on the concept of the multiverse, and it introduces the Spider-Verse. To stop a global threat, Miles joins forces with Spider-Men from other universes. The main villain of this animation is Kingpin, who wants to use technology to cause disruption between worlds. This animation actually laid the foundation for one of the later films in the list, which also achieved great success. Into the Spider-Verse received a rating of 8.4 from IMDb and 97% from Rotten Tomatoes, which is truly impressive. With a budget of $90 million, this animation grossed over $394 million at the box office. After this film, the Marvel Universe experienced an important movie featuring Spider-Man, called Avengers: Endgame. Following the major and strange events of that film, Spider-Man: Far From Home was released. Countless fans were eager to see it to find out what the world looked like after Endgame. This film was actually the conclusion of Marvel's Phase 3. The villain of this movie is Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, a character who is a master of deception and trickery, using simulated events to put Spider-Man under intense pressure. The film received a 7.4 rating on IMDb and 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. With a budget of around $160 million, it achieved an exceptional box office performance of $1.113 billion, becoming a massive commercial success. Now we get to one of the most exciting Spider-Man movies ever made. 2021, Spider-Man: No Way Home. In this film, Spider-Man's identity is revealed to the world, and now everyone knows that Peter is Spider-Man. Because of this, Peter asks Dr. Strange for help, and with Strange's spell, the goal is to erase Peter's identity as Spider-Man from everyone's memory. But the spell causes a multiversal glitch, and a portal to the multiverse opens. As a result, Andrew Garfield's and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, in a truly mind-blowing moment, enter Tom Holland's world, and all three versions of Spider-Man end up in the same universe. This film is the sixth highest-grossing movie in cinema history and, with a budget of $200 million, achieved an incredible $1.9 billion in global box office revenue. It also received great ratings from both critics and audiences, making it one of the most beloved superhero movies ever, and its box office success is clear proof of that. And the latest Spider-Man release, 2023, Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse. This film continues the story of the Oscar-winning animated movie Into the Spider-Verse, 2018. The story follows the journey of Miles Morales, who has now become a skilled Spider-Man. The villain in this film is the Spot, also known as Dr. Jonathan Owen, who once again tells a story within the multiverse. The Spot has the ability to open portals and travel across parallel universes. But the scary part is that the Spot isn't defeated at the end of the film. Instead, he grows stronger and more dangerous. We have to wait and see what his fate, and Miles, will be. And that was the timeline of Spider-Man's most important appearances in cinema, from his very first appearance to the latest animated movie. But there are also a few upcoming films that have fans really hyped. If I missed any movie or appearance, please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.